Welcome to today's video on Unit 12, Part 5, Surface Area and Volume of a Sphere. A sphere is just a circular solid, and to find the surface area of a sphere, you just take 4 pi r squared because a sphere is made up of basically 4 circles. There is no lateral area for a sphere because it's just round. So if you look here, the diagram shows you the 3 circles and then the one around to make 4 circles. And the great circle is the one in the middle, and that's where the radius is. So that is the radius that we use for the formula. So it says find the surface area of the sphere. So for number 53, the radius is 6.25, so we take 4 times pi times 6.25 squared, and that gives us 490.9 square inches. Here for the surface area, we take 4 times pi times 3.7 squared, and that gives us, here we have a hemisphere. So we actually have half of a sphere. So we'll take half of this. But then we also have to consider that the bottom has an area because it's not hollow in the center like a regular sphere. We have this circle on the bottom, so we have to add pi r squared or plus 3.7 squared again to take in consideration the area of the bottom circle. So if it's a hemisphere, you have to take half the area of the sphere, but then also add the base, which is the bottom circle. And when you do that, so basically the formula would be 1/2 4 pi r squared plus pi r squared, right? So half of 4 is 2 pi r squared plus pi r squared. So basically, if it's a hemisphere, you're doing 3 pi r squared. So in this case, 3 times pi times 3.7 squared is going to give you 129.0 millimeters squared. So same thing for 55, that's a hemisphere. So the surface area will be 3 pi r squared. So 3 times 4.2 squared. And when you do that, you get 166.3 millimeters squared. Now this one's a regular sphere, so the surface area is 4 pi r squared. So 4 times 4.5 squared. And when you do that, you get 254.5 square inches. All right, so it says find the surface area of the sphere, which is given information. So the circumference of the great circle is 10 pi feet. Find the surface area. Well, if the circumference equals 10 pi, that means 2 pi r equals 10 pi. So you divide by 2 pi, and that means r is equal to 5. So the radius is 5. So the surface area is equal to 4 pi times 5 squared, which is 314.2 square feet. Same thing here. Now it says the area is 220 square meters. The area of the great circle. So we want to find the radius basically. But remember, area is pi r squared. Right? And the surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. So that means if pi r squared equals 220, then all we have to do is take 220 and multiply it by 4, and we get 880 square meters. All right, to find volume of a sphere, it is 4/3 pi r cubed. So to find the volume of the sphere here, it is 4/3 times pi times 8 to the third. And when you multiply that out, you get 2,144.7 cubic centimeters. Here it says the circumference is 30 pi, so we have to find the radius. So 2 pi r is equal to 30 pi, and that means that r, the radius, is going to be 15. So then the volume is equal to 4/3 times 15 to the third times pi, and that is 14,137.6, actually 0.7, sorry, or sorry, 0.2 cubic centimeters. All right, here, find the volume of the hemisphere. Well, remember the hemisphere is half of a sphere, so it's half of 4/3 pi r cubed, which means that it's going to be 2/3 pi r cubed. So it's going to equal 2/3 pi times 6 cubed, and that is equal to 56.5 cubic feet. So here it's 2/3 pi r cubed. And now this, sorry, let me go back to 61. Sorry, this is the diameter, so I should have put 3 as the radius. And it still gives you 56.5 cubic feet, but the radius is 3. So here, the radius is 40, because that gives you the diameter is 80. So 2/3 pi times 40 cubed, and that gives you 134,041.3 cubic meters. All right, so here it says the jungle gym outside of Jada's school is a perfect hemisphere. It has a volume of 44,000 pi cubic feet. What is the diameter? Well, remember volume is 4/3, or hemisphere, so it's 2/3 pi r cubed. So 4,000 pi is equal to 2/3 pi r cubed. If you multiply by 3/2 to get rid of the fraction, you get this 2 goes into 4,000, so it's 1 and 2,000, and 3 times 2,000 gives you 6,000 pi equals pi r cubed, divided by pi gives you 6,000 equals r to the third. And then when you take the cube root of both sides, because now it's to the third power, so you don't take the square root, the cube root of 6,000 is 18.1. So then the diameter is equal to 2 times 18.1, which is 36.2 feet. All right, so there's some examples on the next page that we'll do. So here it says the stone spheres of Costa Rica were made by forming granodiorite boulders into spheres. One of the stone spheres has a volume of 36,000 cubic inches, what is the diameter of the stone sphere? So this is a sphere. So remember, it's 4/3 pi r cubed. So that means the volume is 36,000 pi. So you multiply by 3/4 to get rid of the fraction. So 4 goes into 36, 9, so it's 9,000 times 3 is 27,000 pi equals pi r cubed. So then you divide by pi. So 27,000 equals r to the third. And when you take the cube root, you get r is equal to 30 when you take the cube root of both sides. So that means the diameter is equal to 60 inches. So it says find the volume and surface area of this sphere here. So the surface area, remember, is 4 pi r squared. So 4 times pi times 16 gives you 201.1 square inches, and the volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. So when you multiply that, you get 268.1 cubic inches. So it says find the volume and surface area of a sphere with a diameter of 14.6, which means the radius is 7.3. So the surface area is 4 pi r squared. So 4 times pi times 7.3 squared gives you 669.7 square feet. And then the volume is 4/3 pi r cubed, which is equal to 1,629.5 cubic feet. All right, so then a couple of hemispheres. Remember, surface area of a hemisphere, remember, is 3 pi r squared. So here the radius is 8.5 because it's half of 17. So 3 times 8.5 squared, 3 pi, is 680.9 square millimeters. And the volume is 2/3 pi r cubed, which gives you 1,286.2 cubic millimeters. All right, so here the surface area is 3 pi r squared. So 3 pi times 16 squared is 2,412.7 square centimeters. And the volume is 2/3 pi r cubed. So it's 2/3 times pi times 16 to the third is 8,578.6 cubic centimeters. A hemisphere has a great circle with approximately with a circumference approximately 175.84 inches. What is the surface area? So in order to do that, you need to find the radius. So 2 pi r is equal to 175.84. So divide by 2 pi, and the radius is equal to 27.986, which means we'll make it 28. So then, to find the area of the hemisphere, the surface area, it's equal to 3 pi times 28 squared. And you get, and you get 7,389.0 square inches. All right, so that concludes our video on part 5. Part 6 coming up soon.